What are you going as this Halloween? I vote for myself, the ultimate Chucky look. It's a killer.
This tutorial requires intermediate skills, takes about 1.5 hours to prep and about 1.5 hours to apply. We spent a little bit of money on that Chucky costume. Other than that, we had most of the stuff already. You might need a little bit of Polymorph plastic as well to create those weirdo nails. Is this your first time here? Let me just say, we're from Sweden. So here we are activating the Polymorph plastic in hot water so that we can create the nails and bolts. Starting with the nails, we roll out the plastic to roughly a nail size thickness. That is one brutal nail though. To create the head of the nails, we add a little bit of Vaseline on a flat surface and push out some hot glue. And we simply stick the nails straight into it. And this will give the nails a perfectly flat surface. You can of course create the head using Polymorph plastic as well. We created 4 nails like that, and then we also made one thicker, like a bolt. And then we used a pair of scissors to cut out a nice hexagon shape there at the top. Next up, let's create a chain. You can of course use a real chain if you got one, otherwise just make tiny loops like this out of Polymorph plastic. And yep, let one go through the other, push them together, heat them up if you need to fuse the plastic, and there you go. Since Chucky's wounds are pretty massive and intense, we need to create them using latex paste. And to make sure we can blink behind that paste, we add a little bit of clay on the face cast to make room for the eye. Mix liquid latex with the baking flour. We usually use wheat flour. Keep stirring as you add small amounts of flour until you get a pasty mix, sort of like the one we have on the screen. If you're having trouble using a latex paste, you can always use cotton and paper along with latex to try to shape and build the wounds. Making sure we have liquid latex on those tools and on the fingers, we can smooth out and work and shape. Find yourself a nice reference image so that you know where the deep cuts are going in Chucky's head. I'm creating deep wounds in my face. In Swedish is jag skapar djupa sår i mitt ansikte. To create a really nice fleshy texture, use a fork and dab into that latex paste. Just like that. Pull it up. It's gonna look awesome. Leave the face prosthetics to dry as we continue with the split open head effects. If you don't have a mannequin head like this, you can create it on a round surface, roughly the size of your head, like a bowl upside down. It's basically 2 thick wound edges, smoothing them out on the outer sides, keeping them rough on the inside. The next piece is optional, as this is the neck wound where his head has been severed. If you are going with a complete Chucky costume, you might not need this. We create the sharp edge where the head has been severed, and of course on the opposite side, going upwards on the neck, we smooth it out. Leave all those prosthetics to dry overnight. When it's time to peel them off, make sure you apply flour or powder on the prosthetic as well as all the edges. Otherwise, that latex will stick to itself and get ruined as you peel it off. Trim away the worst of the edges and repeat the process until you have peeled all those prosthetics off. Next up, painting the nails and the chain, and this is a basic hairspray color in silver. And the shout goes to Chua. Go check her creations out, they are super cool. And don't forget to check out her YouTube channel as well. Amazing work, give us some love. back in Malmö, Sweden, and it's time to protect those little tiny hairs with some Vaseline. Don't want to get that latex stuck in there. And next up, bolt cap. Yup, put it on. And this time we need to cut out those ears because we want to have ears on our Chucky doll. Just do that gently and don't pull too much or you might rip the whole bolt cap. We also trim off a bit of the sides. We put it in place with liquid latex or a skin adhesive. Choice is yours. Then we line the edges with liquid latex and continue with a lot of that latex because now we are attaching our prosthetics. Beginning with the messed up eyepiece, covering that up, secure everything with a layer along the edges and then continue to apply the rest of the pieces. You can always speed up the drying process of that latex using a blow dryer, and then we continue with foundation. This is a nice beige foundation, and since we created this mainly to be able to do that severed head effect in the intro, we didn't paint all the way down on our neck, but you should if you're planning on using a costume with this look. Continuing to fill out those wounds with a base coat of red, and these are grease-based colors. We also go over the edges of the wounds. Then head on to brown for shading. Because we need to dollify this face a bit. Ellie's face is rather tall than round as Chucky's, so we need to create those round cheeks and the shading around the mouth to give it more of a doll appearance. Then using a sponge, we blend it in to that foundation to make the effect more subtle. And since Chucky's eye is all messed up, we also add the brown as a base on that side, before setting everything with a translucent powder. Next up, adding to that bruising effect using red and purple colors, and we also go over the edge of that wound with those purple tones. With this split open head effect, we also need to split that red head wig. Yup, there we go. And attach it with liquid latex. And while we're on the subject of the hairdo, we rough it up a bit as well. Keep it from looking too neat. And before attaching all those nails, we go in and apply a nice red coat there. And we also go in with an orange hairspray color there to add a little bit more of the orange vibe to that hair. Next up, using our glue gun, we simply stick those nails into the prosthetics. And of course, be sure you glue to the prosthetics and not to your actual head. And the bolt and the neck goes onto the prosthetic as well. Next up, a little bit more details, and this time we have scars on the menu. The scars are a mix of a red tone along with a fading out brown there for bruising, as well as black to define it, and a little bit of fake blood as well. But you'll see as we continue. Next layer is black, and we need that to mess up the eye even more. And we also use it to define and add depth to all our wounds, as well as those scars. We also use that black tone to rough up outside the edge of those massive wounds, and also along that wound on the neck. Actually, our nails were a bit too clean, so we give them a go as well with that black. Of course, since we can't actually split our head open in two, we need to add a lot of that fake, messy, dark blood there in that whole wound area. And right at the end of the video here, you will be able to see how we actually cut out that big hole from Ellie's head. A little bit of that blood and those scars, and then onto that runny mess. And this one we extend out onto the face as well, because after all, this nailed to the board Chucky has seen better days. Chucky is not complete without those characteristic stitches, so let's get them in place using a black green color. Should you want to add real stitches, you can do that using a little thread, a fake leather band, and attach them with skin adhesive. And lastly, to keep those two pieces of our head together, let's attach that chain so that that head won't split apart totally. There we go. And as you most likely have figured out, this look was inspired by the awesome new Cult of Chucky movie, available now on DVD and Blu-ray, so go check it out. I've seen it, I'm telling you, you gotta go check out what your favorite evil doll is up to this time. And back to that crazy evil doll, this is how we actually remove that piece of the head in the intro movie. One piece of green fabric and that background was gone. If you like this look, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. Whatever you do, just tell us what you think. And those of you who are waiting for our annual Awesome Zombie, that is coming pretty soon. But first, I think we have a Five Nights at Freddy's thing. Not sure, but yeah, looks like it. So back in a few days with either a zombie or a requested look. So stay tuned. Love you. Take care. Goodbye.